So the Chucky Season 3 Episode 4 Dressed to Kill trailer is out now. Let's talk about it and let me explain. Now, as per usual, this is cut up into segments. There's the Tiffany segment and then the Chucky versus Jake, Devin, and Lexi segment. Let's start with the biggest, Chucky versus Jake, Devin, and Lexi. In chronological order, as best as I can, it starts with James opening up a door and saying trick or treat in kind of a funny way. I can only assume this is to anyone of his family, kind of being funny as he and others prepare for the big Halloween party that night, or maybe some other night, or maybe this episode will take place leading up to the Halloween party, like a few days just leading up to it, which he could be saying trick or treat to someone like Grant, Henry, or maybe Charlotte, his wife, which is very possible. Would be kind of funny and understandable. From what I can assume in this scene, Charlotte is yelling at James because she says he's holding a Halloween party when there's a killer on the loose in the White House, and obviously he'd be the one holding the party, so I could assume it's him she's talking to. Although obviously the show and the party will go on. A shot of a pumpkin being placed in front of a window, likely just setting up decorations for Halloween around the White House. Although this weirdly, and I can swear there was a shot of Chucky doing his Damballa chant right in front of a pumpkin and a window, but I could be wrong on that. Next we see Chucky in costume with his Phantom of the Opera Phantom costume, which looks awesome and just cool. Although Henry doesn't seem to think so, since he looks a little scared, which I'd be too if I had this if I had to see this standing in my room. God, his smile this season, his smiles, his looks this season are just so fucking scary with his teeth and just his face, and creepy and just scary, especially this one in the Phantom costume. Another shot of James, I'd say he's looking at Chucky or looking for Chucky or looking at Chucky, but I doubt it. It's possible, but it could be during the scene where he and Charlotte are arguing or talking about the Halloween party. Chucky can be seen lying down in Henry's bed in his Phantom costume. Maybe this is a bed, but it does seem like, Chucky's knife is weirdly yellow or has some yellow splat on it, paint, so that's weird. Henry is talking with a new character, Annie, and she asks Henry if he's seen something in this house. And can I just say, she's so fucking dead. She is so fucking dead, like beyond dead. But to answer for Henry, yes, he's seen some shit in this house, in the White House, in 1600. I'll assume this is before the Halloween party, and we'll see a few days or so leading up to the party, like a few days in advance, a few days leading up to the party or so, leading up to the party. Jake, Devin, and Lexi planning, and so, how they're gonna take out Chucky, and just all of that stuff. Now, the Halloween party. We first see Jake, Devin, and Lexi arrive in their Chucky costumes in a kind of a limo, presidential vehicle, or good guy costumes, or good guy doll costumes, or good guy costumes. Someone will scare them as they enter, like we've seen in other trailers, and Lexi will go off with Grant, leaving Jake, Devin, or leaving Jake and Devin alone. Jake and Devin will likely will walk the halls of the White House looking for Chucky, as we can see here, with Lexi hanging out, distracting Grant, as Jake and Devin look for the doll or look for Chucky. Although based on who Grant really is, which isn't a dirtbag, yeah, he says some odd shit, but he has a good heart. I can see him and Lexi actually talking, unless Chucky attacks here, which would be insane and sad, especially if Grant dies or maybe gets injured, Billy and Screamer gets stabbed a few times. Although obviously Grant won't end up being the killer. Chucky is seen looking down on into the party from the ceiling, likely that's what I assume, I don't know, and possibly to put his plan or full plan into full swing, a joke for events to come, as we see James looking around the party, as he also picks up Chucky with Jake, Devin, and Lexi approaching and running towards him. I thought before that Chucky would just kill him here and just kill right in front of Jake, Devin, and Lexi, which could still happen or could happen still, but I don't think so, at least not here, because as Devin looks up, Jake and Lexi can also be seen looking up, and Jake runs for Devin, yelling Devin, and we see a faster or a falling shot at going towards down towards a crowd, as the crowd below it screams. I've seen some say this is a huge callback or Easter egg from or to Phantom of the Opera, where the Phantom sends a chandelier falling down, swinging, killing, and harming people. This could be what happens here, since everyone's looking up and there are two big chandeliers in this room or ballroom or room. So Critical Overlord says it's a bait and switch, so maybe Devin doesn't get it, it's Jake, Lexi, or Grant who gets it. Maybe someone pushing him out of the way, or maybe Devin even still gets a piece of glass that flies and hits him and injures him a bit. That's very possible. Maybe the bait and switch means he won't die but rather get injured and we think he'll die. Who knows? Maybe James or Henry. Again, it can be anyone, or it could just be a huge injury, maybe still to Devin. We'll see. But as I was like, for Andy in episode 3, I'm terrified for everyone in episode 4, Dressed to Kill. James, Charlotte, and Henry can be seen reacting in a terrified and surprised manner, going from looking up to down, maybe even close to them and in front of them. So again, it could be anyone, but I could see Grant getting it, which would will be very emotional in my honest opinion. Although we can't see Charlotte running and grabbing Henry, so maybe not, since I'd assume Charlotte and Henry would run to Grant, although maybe only James does, or James runs to Grant, who knows. Lexi is seen by herself with tears in her eyes, so again, could be Jake, Devin, Lexi, or it could be Jake, Devin, or Grant, because I don't know if she'd have this reaction to anyone else besides those 3. Maybe Caroline, but nah, I doubt it. Okay, so to jump in for a second for the future, there was a promo photo released of Jake, Devin, and Lexi at the Halloween party, the aftermath of likely the chandelier falling, and when you see Jake and Devin without their hats on, which signifies something clearly happened that involved it getting taken off with likely quick moving motions, like Jake running after Devin or something like that, or being jumped out of the way from the chandelier falling, and all of their hats I think falling off as like I said, this has to be the aftermath of the chandelier falling and everything, because everyone looks stunned as they did in the photo or the scene where Jake goes running after Devin, and obviously Lexi looks sad, Jake and Devin kind of look surprised and stunned and everything, so obviously something happened to someone, and I'm really aiming that it's Grant, and god man, fucking hell, please don't be Grant, but it's very likely Grant, damn it. Also, just to hop in here for a second again, with this kind of scene of Chucky looking up, it actually might not be Chucky, because in an earlier sneak peek that we got this week, it was shown that Jake's, or kind of Henry's brother, Joseph, also wore a bit of a Phantom of the Opera costume, which obviously Chucky wears to kind of manipulate him and kind of be more like his other brother, or younger brother, maybe equally aged brother Joseph. But in this scene right here, this kind of person or whatever kind of looks to have more human lips and a human face than Chucky. So, and Critical Overlord did say that there will be ghosts in this episode, and they actual fucking ghosts. So it could very well be possible that this is actually Joseph. Also, lastly, someone made a really good theory that when Chucky gets his mask removed, like the Phantom of the Opera movies, films, stage plays, all of that we will actually see Brad Dourif's actual face kind of CGI'd, or maybe Brad Dourif's face on Chucky, which would be really cool to show his actual deterioration, how old he's getting and everything, because obviously Chucky's looked young, but then to see Brad Dourif's actual aged face, or kind of older face on Chucky, which would be the first time we've seen Brad Dourif and kind of Chucky's and Charles Lee Ray's face, actual human face, skin, and all of that, since Child's Play 1988, since obviously we've seen flashbacks, but not an actual modern day, which could potentially look bad because of CGI, or it could look good because of maybe some practical effects. Maybe we'll get some Child's Play 1988 or Child's Play 1 through 3 level kind of Chucky human face, which would look really cool, but as per usual, as I say, we'll see. Some smaller shots include Chucky looking up in a kind of scary manner and everything, maybe after his exactest plan killed someone, is looking up at Lexi, Jake, Devin, or Lexi or Grant maybe, or maybe even James, Charlotte, or Henry. That's also very possible during the party, because this does look like it's during the party sequence or scene or clip, and him looking out a window, not much to get from there. Now, onto the Tiffany section. She can be seen walking through the prison, clearly on death row, I think, and this is likely in the modern day compared to episode 3 in a flashback. A prison guard says to her, or can be seen saying to her, or says to her in a cell, that this will be her final home before she is put to death via lethal injection, to which she responds, Tiffany responds, "We'll see." There's also a shot of her arriving at a prison, which, I'll assume this is her arriving at a new prison, since I don't think we'll get any more flashbacks, maybe at death row, her arriving at death row. I don't know. Although she, although she arrived, or has arrived in style, because Jesus fucking Christ, Tiffany arrives in everywhere in style. She opens a box in her cell that has her Voodoo for Dummies book, or Voodoo for Dummies book, but the last person we saw have that, or that have that Voodoo for Dummies book was Caroline. So maybe she has shipped it to her, shipped it to Tiffany in her cell, or has given it to her, unless Tiffany got a new one, bought a new copy or had a new one given to her by maybe one of the prison cells, because she did say she has connections. happens. Maybe Chucky shipped it to her. I don't know. Who knows? She either used one of the items in it or like, in the box or other items then to create and build her very own voodoo doll, which she may use to possess or control someone like else, since we see we can clearly see her saying a Damballa chant with kind of like the thunder, the clouds, the rain, or I don't think there's any rain, but who knows? And also, since Tiffany was never in the exorcism or exorcise or cursed like Chucky was, or sent away by Damballa, that must mean she can still do voodoo and spells and has full power, which Chucky may want and could be why he gets her out of prison. If he does, who knows, maybe he pardons her, or because obviously Tiffany, like I said, has full power still since she was never exorcised or in the exorcism in the church and never cursed, so who knows? It's just a theory, but she's still she could use it to harm others, since we see one of the prison interviewers or whatever, she is slicing her face, so Tiffany could be using that doll to do that, or to possess, but that looks like, it'd be an all odd doll to possess, so yeah, likely to harm others. Some other shots I completely missed in is this shot of Annie entering a room with a knife, so maybe this could explain why the knife ends up yellow, or maybe her death scene. Although I can swear she can be seen at the party or the Halloween party somewhere. I don't know. Also, this lineup of bodies, which is clearly after the Halloween party massacre, likely from the falling chandelier. So could any of the main trio be in one of these bags? Jake, Devin, Lexi, Grant, James, Henry, Charlotte. We'll see. It could be anyone. Although besides them, there will be lots of deaths, and will be our first kill scene since the season 1 finale in the theater, where lots and many people died just besides our main characters, like a full-blown massacre. Lastly, a clip of Chucky chanting to Damballa, which could be him saying it after completing his goal and ritual to regain Damballa in full power via voodoo. Who knows? This is likely near the end of the episode, since he's in his full Phantom costume, and he's likely completed his goal, ritual, voodoo, all of that stuff. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about in the video. What are your thoughts? Are you excited, scared, or whatever else for Chucky season 3 episode 4, Dressed to Kill, aka the mid-season finale for Chucky season 3? Who do you think will live? Who do you think will die? And yeah, what are your thoughts? As per usual, all sources will be linked down below. Thanks for watching. A piece of my amigos, and peace out.